my stinky little friends, and welcome back to another video. This last week has been super hectic for me in many different ways, so I thought that we could just spend a couple days being homebodies and being introverted together. Really all I want to do for the next few days is just stay inside, read a book, do some hobbies, just recharge my social battery a little bit. Before I actually start the vlog, I realized that it has been a long time since I actually introduced myself on one of my videos, and we've had a few new friends here recently, so I thought that I would take the time today to introduce myself. So hello, my name is Millie. I'm an introvert and I love all things cozy. I love books and hobbies, and I talk a lot about mental health and living with chronic pain. I started my YouTube channel in 2024 after I was medically retired from the military for mental health reasons. At that time, I felt very lost and very alone, and I really just wanted to be creative in a way that would give me a schedule, something to do consistently, and hopefully reach other people that might be feeling the same way as me. And it has given me all of that and more. I love creating for YouTube, and I love the community that we have built. I live with my spouse Ryan and our 5 animals, our 2 cats Ove and Mick, and then our 3 dogs Mowgli, Moose and Squid. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, and I'm so happy that you're here. My plan for the day is to start a new book, but before we talk about the book and do some reading, for months now I have been trying to make myself a raspberry jam matcha, and I finally this week reached the end of a jam jar. So let's go make a matcha first, and then we can talk about the book that I'm reading for this vlog. This is good. I'm grateful that this is quite tasty because it was 3 or 4 months in the making. If I was going to make it again, I think I would get seedless jam, simply because every time I take a sip, I'm getting about 800 raspberry seeds as well, which is fine, but it does take away from the overall experience just a little bit. But yeah, it's tasty, very tasty. Okay, so the book that I'm reading for this vlog is The Unknown by Riley Sager. This is a mystery thriller book set on a spooky island. As you guys know, I've been trying to branch out a little bit from my usual romantasy genre, and so this is me continuing to do that. This book and my last book, Wild Dark Shore, were both set on spooky islands, so I have absolutely been spoiled rotten with spooky island books recently, which I love. The beginning of the blurb for this book says, in 1926, 5 women disappeared from a remote island in Vermont. Now, 100 years later, it's happening again. This book follows our main character, Marin, as she is cast in a movie that is being filmed on this island. And 100 years previous, 5 women went missing after a seance went wrong. The mystery of what happened to them was never really fully understood or discovered. And now, after Marin and her cast are stuck on the island due to a health emergency, the disappearances begin happening again. So it's really trying to get to the bottom of what the heck is happening on this island. And this just sounds so good, so I'm really excited to start reading. Okay, I'm about 60 pages into the book and I was about to take a quick break to go eat some lunch. But first I wanted to talk about it because I'm loving it so far. I'm really enjoying the characters and the story, and the whole setup for the mystery that's happening is also really intriguing. So basically our main character, Marin, is an actress, a completely unknown actress who the only other thing that she's been in is an eczema commercial. When she's cast in this movie that is being directed by this well-known, well-loved indie director, she thinks maybe she'll have 1 or 2 lines. At first, she's not really told much about what the actual movie itself is about, but it turns out that it is about this disappearance of these 5 women that happened 10 years previously on an island called New Avalon. And Marin being casted in this movie is actually quite a quick turnaround, because the woman that was previously casted dropped out or was fired from the movie very short notice. And so Marin has about 2 days to decide whether or not she wants to take this part. And she decides yes, obviously, because this could make or break her career. And so the way that this director films his movies is by making sure that all of the characters are completely method acting. So Marin wasn't told anything about the script or the movie other than the basic premise, and she wasn't even told which character that she'll be playing. And then as they're pulling up to the island, she realizes this is the actual island where these disappearances happened that they're going to be filming on. The actual island itself is like a remnant of the past, and despite the fact that tourists and birdwatching people have lived on the island since the disappearances, it still feels like a time capsule, in that when the previous family sold the island to the government, not much was taken away from the island, and so the same furniture and the same houses all still stand, but they're kind of in more of like a dilapidated, abandoned state than they were at the time, which definitely adds to this like spooky, unsettling feeling that surrounds the island and the island's lore. Marin is the only unknown actress on the cast. The rest of the 4 women are very famous actresses, and the director himself, Ronan, wants all 5 of them to completely method act for the time that they're on the island, which is 5 days. He makes them give up their phones. There's no electricity on the island, and then they have to dress in time accurate clothing as well. We've also started to have some time jumps back to 1926 in the form of diary entries from this character Daisy. As we're learning more about Daisy and her history, Marin is also learning more about Daisy and the history of the island, which is nice because we're kind of like uncovering the mystery together a little bit. And then the last thing that I will mention so far is there's a bunch of what they call hex symbols on every surface of the island. So it's carved into pavement and trees, and basically just any surface there's a hex symbol which is supposed to help ward off evil spirits. So that's where I'm at so far. I'm only 60 pages in, but it's definitely super intriguing, and I'm very interested to learn more of what the heck is happening and what the heck happened on this island. Okay, I'm about 200 pages in and I'm still having a great time. The mystery is like really kicking off now. Like we're in the middle of whatever the heck is happening. I think that it's super interesting because we have the split timeline. So we're following Daisy's diary entries from the past and then Marin in the present as she experiences what is happening on the island. It's interesting to me because Daisy fully believes in the supernatural, and she fully believes that whatever is happening is occurring because of a supernatural entity. Meanwhile, Marin is a skeptic through and through. She is trying to figure out what is actually going on because she does not believe in any of the supernatural stuff. And so she knows that it must be a person on this island causing all these things to happen. She just cannot figure out who is doing it. And so that's the point where we're at right now, but so much has happened. I don't want to say exact details and spoil the mystery, but it's good and I'm enjoying myself. Right now though, I thought it would be fun to do a little report segment. I don't know if you guys have seen this on social media, but it's usually on Instagram with a carousel of pictures. It's report, which stands for reading, eating, playing, obsessing, recommending, and treating. And I thought that would be fun to do and just yap a little bit about those different things. So first up we have reading, which is super easy because I'm currently reading The Unknown by Riley Sager, as you guys know. And then the last book that I read was Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. That was incredible. 5 out of 5 stars. I loved the atmosphere, the setting of having a book on like the remote Antarctic island was incredible. And then all the history and the character development and the story was beautiful. It was not a light read, I will say that much. It was quite dark and it was quite heavy, but it was very, very good. And the writing was beautiful. Next up we have eating. I have been loving the Trader Joe's mini bagels. And I specifically say the mini bagels because I feel like they toast so much better than a regular bagel. I don't know what it is about them, but the texture is incredible. It's so good. And then Ryan has been making this creamy gochujang noodle recipe. He makes 2 substitutions for this recipe. He uses impossible meat instead of beef because I don't eat meat. And then he uses cream cheese instead of cottage cheese because we are not cottage cheese believers in this household. But again, it's so delicious and it's so easy to make. Then we have playing. I'm so excited for this one because I have been playing and loving Moonlight Peaks. This is like a spooky farming sim. It's like Stardew Valley but with Animal Crossing graphics. And as someone who has played many a farming sim, I can just tell that this game has had so much love and so much care put into it. Like the creators of this game genuinely love this game and it shows. All of the different cutscenes and the different characters are so thoughtful and I'm genuinely having such a good time playing it. I actually held off on playing this game for I think a week because I told myself this is a fall game because you are a vampire living in a town full of supernaturals and you only come out at nighttime. So I was like, surely I should just wait until the fall to play this game. I waited I think 2 weeks before buying this game on my Switch because I just kept thinking about it and I kept wanting to play it. And so I said, you know what, we're just gonna play it because I can't stop thinking about it and I'm having such a good time. And then next up we have the obsessing category, which is so easy for me because I have been obsessed with Widow's Bay. This is a TV show on Apple TV and if you haven't watched it, go watch it immediately. So this is like a spooky comedy show kind of. The humor is quite dry and full of satire. It follows this frazzled mayor as he's trying to create tourism in his island off of the East Coast. And there is something creepy happening on this island, which all of the locals have a ton of superstitions about. The island itself has a really bad dark history with stuff like the witch trials and cannibalism and a boogeyman that went through and murdered a bunch of girls in the early 2000s. And so this poor guy is trying to create tourism on his island, but he doesn't believe in any of this supernatural stuff that's happening on the island whatsoever, even though all of the locals keep telling him, hey, don't bring people here, something bad is happening. And it just kind of follows this guy as stuff unravels on the island and oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. You need to go and watch it. Next up we have recommending. So for the recommending, I think I have to recommend my brick. I've been using my brick for 3 months now and it has drastically helped my mental health to not be able to scroll on social media all day every day. Before I got my brick, I would just completely delete Instagram off of my phone so that I couldn't get on there without downloading it. But that just isn't reasonable to have to re-download it every time you need to use it. So this is such a great alternative to that. I think the biggest difference I've noticed since using my brick is my attention span is so much longer for other stuff that I actually want to be doing instead of just scrolling on my phone, like reading, hobbies, even watching TV. My attention span is much longer. So the last category is treating. My favorite candy of all time is a Kinder Bueno bar. It's my go-to. I love it so much. I recently discovered that there is a Kinder Bueno ice cream And the second that I found that out, I called Ryan on his way home from work and I said, please, if you love me at all, can you go to the grocery store on your way home and pick up some Kinder Bueno ice cream? Because if I don't have it right now, I'm gonna perish. And he did. He went and brought it home for me and it's so good. It's so good. It has like a layer of the Kinder Bueno chocolate on top, and then the actual ice cream itself, it has more of the chocolate and then some wafers. Oh, it's so good. I'm just gonna sit here and think about it for a little bit. If you guys feel like yapping in the comments about what your report is, I would love to hear it. So please tell me. I think for the rest of the day, I'm just gonna go and keep reading my book because I am deep in the mystery of it and I just wanna know what's gonna happen. Hey guys, good morning. It is 6:40. Let's go for a walk. Hi guys, I'm back from my walk and I made my morning smoothie with all of my supplements. It's not the tastiest smoothie, but it means that I can get everything that I need to take in one go. So the convenience of it alone is worth the taste. So I've been going for lots of super early morning walks recently because it's just too hot to go later in the day. And I actually bought a pair of wired headphones because for the longest time I just didn't listen to anything on walks. I'm very anxious, and if I can't hear what's going on around me, it just makes my hypervigilance way worse, and I'm like convinced that something's gonna happen. And the only other pair of headphones that I own are my Bose headphones, which are great, but they are very sound cancelling, and so I just couldn't wear them on walks, so I didn't listen to anything. And I realized recently that I could just buy a pair of wired headphones. They're relatively inexpensive. I can hear everything and still listen to audiobooks or music on my walk. And this has completely changed the game. It's so much easier to walk long distances now because I just don't get as bored as easily. So if you're an anxious girly as well, I definitely recommend getting some wired headphones. I think for this morning, I'm gonna finish my smoothie, shower, get dressed, and then I would like to finish my book. I think I have about 100 pages left, if I had to guess. And so I can probably get that done this morning. And then we can do some other cozy hobbies for the rest of the day. I've finished the book, so let's talk about it. Overall, I loved this book, and I think that it is a super solid mystery thriller book. It's a little bit spooky in places. It wasn't overly scary though, and I genuinely really enjoyed all of the twists and turns that happened and like the big reveals. In terms of like predictability, this actually wasn't very predictable. I guessed a couple of the different things that happened right at the very end, but I honestly think that the author wanted me to guess those, and the parts that I didn't guess just made so much sense with the whole story, and I wasn't even thinking along those lines with what happened. I was really impressed that they could come up with this reveal for the story that made sense within the story but was also not easy to guess, which I struggle with in a lot of mysteries, is that the reveal comes out of nowhere and you couldn't have guessed it. But I think that if you were paying attention to this book, and if you read more mystery thrillers than I do, you probably could have guessed a lot more of the plot. I loved the characters and it kept me entertained the whole way through. It was also a super easy, quick read as well, so if you're looking for something to get you out of a reading slump, this might be a good book for you. Even though it's a solid like 80 something degrees outside, I have really been in a soup mood recently. I honestly think I've been in a soup mood for the last year and a half, but I thought for dinner today I could make a slow cooker chili from my soup cookbook. Hey guys, good morning. Yes, I did make my bed and then get right back in it again. I stopped filming yesterday after making the chili because my period started with a vengeance, and so I spent the whole afternoon curled up with my heating pad. I woke up feeling a little bit better today. I've got my raspberry leaf tea and I managed to eat a protein bar for breakfast. I recently bought a Sudoku puzzle book. When we were on our trip to England, the little monitor on the plane had Sudoku puzzles, and I forgot how much I enjoyed doing Sudoku because it's numbers but it's not math. As long as you can count from 1 to 9, you're good. And I don't mean to brag, but I can do that. And so I thought I'd spend the morning doing some Sudoku puzzles and drinking my tea. I solved my first puzzle. I realized that on the plane, I forgot that you also had to solve each box individually, and so I kept messing it up and getting frustrated thinking that I was just doing the rows correctly. And now I realize what I was doing wrong. When I first started this one, I thought I'd bitten off more than I could chew and that I'd gotten one that was too difficult, but it was actually fine once I just got into it. What a great way to start the day. I already feel like I've achieved something and that my brain is working a little bit more, a little bit less groggy than it was when I first woke up. I do need to get out of bed and get dressed for the day. I'm just procrastinating at the moment. I'm going to sit here and finish my tea, and then once that's done, I will get dressed and then we can talk a little bit more about the other hobby that I would like to do today. I thought that we could do some watercolor together. Ever since I got this guy in London, I wanted to watercolor him, and then I realized that the Japanese watercolors that I picked up are such a great match for him. Look at that. They're basically like the same colors. I think the only colors extra I might need a gray and a black, I think. But I have those in my other watercolors, so that will be fine. So yeah, I'm going to sketch him first and then attempt to watercolor him. It looks kind of dumb, but here's the final product. What do we think? Is it a good resemblance? Maybe they could be like distant cousins instead of twins. Regardless of how it turned out, it was really fun to do, and I've really been enjoying using my new watercolors. The pigment is really rich, and I think that's the part that I'm struggling with at the moment, is trying to find the balance between how much water to use and how much paint to use. But either way, they're beautiful colors. I think I'm going to end this video here, but as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again soon with another video. Bye!